Good morning, Wellspring. Good morning out there in Zoom land. And for those people who will view this service at a later date. My name is Judy Bethman, and I'm part of your Sunday, April 27th, 2025 service team. How did that happen? We have a few opportunities to announce. Early Bird still meets Sunday morning at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email and on the website. Our speaker today is Reverend Vickie Avery. Yay! Upcoming speakers for May is the May 4th, Donna Stryker, May 11th, Reverend Sandy, May 18th, Reverend Kamatara, and May 25th, Reverend Randy Granger. The Thursday evening group continues to meet at 7 o'clock here in the social hall or on Zoom. Get the coordinates from Cleona or Edward. The labyrinth is slowly coming along. Jim, you wanted to make an announcement?
Thanks to Lori Macumber, we have 30 more rocks than we had a week ago.
Yay, thanks, Lori. Yahoo! So the rocks should be around 6 inches in diameter and put them in the pergola corner. And Jean Geringer said she'd head that committee.
Yay.
That's sort of her bailiwick. Okay. Our May outing is this Saturday, the May 3rd at 3 o'clock in Atkinson Recital Hall. And we will playing, the New Horizons Band will be playing in concert, and the admission is free. And generally, we go out to dinner at Cattle Baron afterwards. So then, the following day, Sunday, the Missio Valley Chorale is doing a concert called Swing into Spring at 3 p.m. at the Rio Grande Theater. See me for the $10 tickets. They're going, we've sold over 200, and the auditorium seats 3 something. So you might be able to get them at the door, but I wouldn't count on it. You can go online or see me. I still have some tickets left. Okay. Our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. You may submit a request via our webpage or give it to Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. As we sit here in this sacred space and let the vibrations wash over us, let's breathe in and breathe out. Let's do that again and listen to the tone. Dear Spirit, we are so grateful that you are constantly present in our lives. We invite you into this service and know that the people who are here love you and respect you and adhere to the principles of New Thought. We are jubilant in this glorious day that you have made for us. And this we pray, and so it is. All right, if you are able, let's stand and sing our song of joy, God in everything.
Inside and all around me, God
All right, you may be seated. And let's read our vision, our mission, and our affirmation. Our vision: to support, elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation: I embrace the beauty and the renewal of life, knowing that divine creativity flows through me. Every step I take is guided by Spirit, bringing clarity, peace, and purpose. I celebrate the gifts of transformation and trust in the unfolding of my highest good. And now it's my great pleasure to present our special lady today, Melody Burns.
With a pretty dress. Oh, thank you very much. Speaking of labyrinths, Peggy Shin sent an email saying that she saw that May 3rd is National Labyrinth Day. So, in the spirit of that, I spoke to the pastor at First Christian. There is a labyrinth there, right across from Las Cruces High School, and it's right out by the street. You are welcome to walk the labyrinth at First Christian until yours is done, but especially next Saturday before you have this wonderful outing at Atkinson. You can make a whole day of it. But just so you know, you are welcome to walk that labyrinth. This is a song that you will recognize the tune. It was written by Charles Gabriel in 1907. Bob, of course, rewrote the words. In the Circle by Bob Burns. There's a doorway into heaven, and the stairs aren't hard to climb. There's a doorway into heaven if you open up your mind. In the circle we have spoken of the truth, Lord, by and by. In that circle is the Spirit that lives in you and I. Light a candle in the darkness, let the God light shine through you. Tell the world about the presence, look inside at God in you. In the circle we have spoken of the truth, Lord, by and by. In that circle is the Spirit that lives in you and I. There's abundance in my life now, ever since my God came in. Truth and beauty manifesting universal peace within. In the circle we have spoken of the truth, Lord, by and by. In that circle is the Spirit that lives in you and I. Sing it with me. In the circle we have spoken of the truth, Lord, by and by. In that circle is the Spirit that lives in you and I, that lives in you and I. Great job. Thank you.
Thanks to Bob. Yeah. His spirit lives on.
You betcha. You betcha. That gave me holy goosebumps, as Shirley would say. Our reading today is from the Science of Mind, which we call our Bible, by Ernest Holmes. And it's in the second chapter, Universal Mind, Spirit, or Spirit is God. There's a universal mind, spirit, intelligence that is the origin of everything. It is first cause. It is God. This universal life and energy finds an outlet in and through all that is energized and through everything that lives. There is energy back of all that is energized. This energy is in everything. There is one spirit back of all expression. That is the meaning of the mystical saying, quote, "In him we live and move and have our being," end quote. That was taken from Acts 17, verse 28. There is spirit, or this indivisible cause, and nothing out of which all things are to be made. Now, spirit plus nothing leaves spirit only. Hence, there is one original cause and nothing out of which we are made. In other words, we are made from this thing. That is why we call it the Son of God. We know that this is what we are, because we could not be anything else. But we do not know how much of this we are. When we see it as it is, then we shall see ourselves as we are. We can only see it by looking at it through our own eyes. Hence, we shall find a better God when we shall have arrived at a higher standard for man. If God is to interpret himself to man, he must interpret himself through man. And the Spirit can make no gift that we do not accept. And that's why the people go, namaste, namaste, because they see the God light in the other person's eyes. And that is such a special thing. And we are all light workers. And hopefully they can see the God through our eyes. Okay, it's my great privilege to present Reverend Vickie Avery.
It's been a minute since I've been up here in this capacity. Thank you. We're going to talk about infinity. I'm going to have Brenda show a short video and then talk about it a little bit. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's called Powers of 10. It first came out in 1977. It's a documentary short that was written and directed by a husband and wife team, Charles and Ray Imes. And it's based on a 1957 book called Cosmic View, The Universe in 40 Jumps. And the Powers of 10 is culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant as noted by the Library of Congress, and thanks to its simplicity, design, and perception-altering nature of viewing it. So you guys are going to go on a little trip. The relative scale of universe, according to an order of magnitude, is based on the factor of 10, first expanding out from Earth until the entire universe is surveyed, and then reducing inward until a single atom and its quarks are observed. So we're zooming out to encompass a view of 100 million light years away. And then we magnify down to a single proton. So it's macro to micro, the quasars to quarks. So if somebody can touch the lights, and we'll start. Enjoy your journey. I'll just give you a moment to let that all sink in. Well, what we observed was the observable universe as they knew it back in 1977. And as it showed, there are several 100 billion galaxies. And the galaxy has billions and trillions of stars. And most of the observable universe is empty space, and it tells us the history of the cosmos. And to give you an idea of how big this is, the observable universe, if it's shrunk down to the size of a football field, our Milky Way galaxy would be smaller than a grain of salt. That's how big this universe is. And a light year is the distance that a light travels in 1 year, or 5.88 trillion miles. So when we're talking about 100,000 light years away, that's really big. Kind of hard to grasp it. But in 1977, the observable universe was guesstimated to be about 93 billion light years. And in the almost 50 years since this, with the technology and the development of new and bigger telescopes and satellites, it's much bigger. It goes further out. And to give you an idea of how much further out, if a car traveling 60 miles an hour, it would take it 200 trillion years to drive across the observable universe. So you got to have a big tank of gas for that. And coming closer to home, our Milky Way galaxy is guesstimated to be 1.2 zettameters, or 100,000 light years in diameter. And that's just an average size galaxy. There are galaxies that are much larger than our own Milky Way. And so if the Milky Way was shrunk down to Earth size, the Earth would be smaller than a grain of sand. So if we're discovering that the observable universe is even greater than what this 1977 film shows, there's more and more and more. Could that be infinity? So let's talk about infinity. Infinity's definition is boundless, unlimited, endless, and larger than any natural number. We can't even really define infinity because it's so big. And the earliest recorded idea of infinity they've discovered was first found in Greece in the 7th century BCE. So way back a long time ago, there was talk about infinity. And this symbol, the infinity symbol, was first created in 1655 by a mathematician, John Wallace. And that symbol, if you're ever on Jeopardy and need to know this answer, it's called a lambda-scat. So I'll take symbols for 200, Alex. Talking about Greece and the philosophers and those guys who talked a lot about stuff, Plato believed that the absolute was finite. And there was lots of arguments and debates and discussion about that. And in 205 to 270, Plotinus was one of the first theologians and metaphysicians that believed that the absolute was infinite. And that's when they thought, that's the definition of God. Absolute and infinite. And metaphysical infinity is encompassing the totality, the absoluteness, and perfection. And doesn't that sound like how we describe God or spirit or first cause or all that is, higher power? So God is either entirely infinite or not infinite at all. And God's infinity is incomprehensible in our mortal minds. We cannot imagine it or conceive it. So we try to represent or define God's infinity, but we fall into some problems with that. We often will give God human characteristics, and I have trouble with this word, yes, but you all said gold stars. And in the Judeo-Christian belief, they talked about God as the old man with the white beard sitting on the cloud, and that would make sense because if God made man in God's image, then of course God would be this old man. But that really, it's not accurate because that makes it finite. And we also confuse infinity with formlessness. So there is form to infinity. But if we define it, much like in Taoism, once you name it, it is no longer that. So we do break God's attributes into chunks only because it makes it easier for us finite humans to talk about God. And rather than making something like God impossible, logic makes God necessary. And the point being, God is not part of reality. God is reality. And in reality, God's attributes come down to a basic source. God is the one and only ultimate and necessary being, and literally the source of everything, much like our Song of Joy. God is everything. And God expresses this idea with, I am. So God is a being, absolute perfection, love in infinite measure, and without beginning or end, much like what we experienced with the film, with the universe, the infinity. It goes on and on. There's no beginning, and they have not been able to find an end. It goes on and on and on. And there was never when God was not, from the beginning. And God has always been God and always has been, even before there was no matter or universe or time as we understand time. So, God is infinite, not limited by time or space. God is omnipotent, the all-powerful, omniscient, that one, all-knowing, and omnipresent, present everywhere. There is no place where God is not. and transcendent, exceeding far above creation, and is both greater than creation and independent of it. Everything in the universe exists from God's creative work. So in the powers of 10, it represents a way of thinking, of seeing interrelatedness of all things in our universe: math, science, physics, art, music, literature. There's all kinds of infinity, and it plays a part in everything. And the website says, quote, "How we live, how we scale, operates in our lives, how seeing and understanding our world from the next largest or the next smallest vantage point broadens our perspective and deepens our understanding." And in Science of Mind, the study of Science of Mind refers to God as first cause, spirit, mind, or that invisible essence, that ultimate stuff and intelligence from which everything comes. The power back of creation, the thing itself, like Judy said in her reading. And we accept this thing and we believe it. The true metaphysical teachings are the study of life and the nature of the law governed by thought. Thus, we change our thinking, we change our life. Thought precedes form. And always conscious that we live in a spiritual universe. All that is spirit. So God is in, through, around, and for us. And there's nowhere where God is not, and no way God could be contained, because God is infinite, no beginning and no end. And I think a recent way of expressing that infinity that God is comes from Toy Story, from Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond. And so it is. So let's take that to prayer. As we come down into this space, in this finite space, in our human bodies, we know that we are more than that. God is all there is, and we are one with God, so we are also infinite spiritual beings. And God is for us and provides everything that we need on this earth plane as we are spiritual beings having our human experience. Everything we need is given to us by the universe, by that infinite, all-loving, all-knowing universe supporting us on our spiritual journey. And we give great thanks for coming together with like-minded people in our beloved Wellspring community, knowing that all is in divine order. As we say together, and so it is. And now, let's bring Melody back up, and as she shares her gift of music with us.
Wow, thank you so very much. I found myself wishing I had a song about infinity, and I forgot that one from Toy Story. But several songs definitely ran through my mind, none of which I have with me here today. However, your last statement reminded me of the one I have chosen for today. Because as we are on this earth, doing all of our exploration and experiencing all we are experiencing, it does come down to where we are right now in this place. And I find that in Wellspring, so many of us have found a home. This is a song by Dan Fogelberg called Wandering Shepherd. Wandering shepherd, wander no more. Wandering shepherd, wander no more. Wandering shepherd, wander no more. Lay down your troubles, your worries and woes. Traveling pilgrim, rest for the night. Traveling pilgrim, rest for the night. Traveling pilgrim, rest for the night. Sup with sweet spirit and drink of the light. Homeless believer, find you a home. Homeless believer, find you a home. Homeless believer, find you a home. You may feel lonely, but you're never alone. Wandering shepherd, wander no more. Wandering shepherd, wander no more. Wandering shepherd, wander no more. Lay down your troubles, your worries and woes.
Thank you so much, Melody. Whoa, okay. Now it's time for our offering. And Sharon's going to go get that. bless these gifts, which we are gratefully receive, because we know that these gifts are part of the flow, and the flow goes throughout into the world. And it's a wonderful, magical, karmic thing. For this we say, thank you, and so it is. Thank you, Sharon. All right. There are a number of folks who have contributed to the production of this service. Brenda back there, and Jim, and Melody, and Vickie, and me. So, you know, with such a small congregation, everybody really rises and does their part. That is the miracle of Wellspring. Okay. We thank you for joining us today from Zoomland and here in the sanctuary. You can stay around in Zoom for a meeting if you wish, and then we can all toddle on over and have fellowship in the social hall. Please stand if you are able and read the benediction with me, followed by our congregational song.
Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.